say they need to ban the podcast equipment and take y'all mics away. And oftentimes when I listen, shit, I agree.
For real talk.
Hey, man, just because we know people don't mean that they know things. A lot of us was in the same classes with some of these folks. That don't mean they were passing these classes.
All the time.
It ain't the world leaving you behind, man. It's your line of thinking. You think the science stopped evolving because you stopped learning, and it don't work that way. I couldn't imagine voting for somebody who thinks identifying with me is identifying with a felon. That's crazy as hell. I'm Mrs. Spann, and I'm approving these messages. This is the Mrs. Spann Official Podcast. Let's go. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Mrs. Spann Official Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Spann, and this is episode number 86 of the show. And yeah, man, episode 86 has been a long time motherfucking coming, man. I've been gone from this mic much longer than I ever planned to be. Shit. I'm trying to give y'all niggas excuses, to be honest with you, but shit, life and work and whatnot, man. I was, me and my crew, we were working on like this apartment complex. Excuse me. With a bunch of units, man. It was a bunch of units, man. Every day we were working on at least a 9-meter unit or something like that. And so a lot of meticulous pipe fitting was going on in these buildings, man. I pulled out some of my greatest motherfucking tricks, man. I was out here doing a whole bunch of stuff to make shit happen. And, it took a lot of work, but, they sent the A-team out there. And so the A-team went and got it done. And so we went on ahead and knocked that out. But it also required me to be at work for some extended hours and whatnot. So, yeah, man, that's part of the reason why I haven't been able to get on the mic as of late. And then like last night I was supposed to get on the mic and I swear to God, man, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Your boy fell fucking asleep, man. I just fell fucking asleep. Nigga! Yeah, man. Like I looked up and my wife was texting me and she was like, yo, you okay? Because she was at work and shit. And I was like, what you mean? She said, because you're supposed to be podcasting right now. I'm like, oh, shit. Right? So, yeah, man, I had just nodded the fuck off. And so that's part of the reason why today's episode is today and not when it was supposed to be, which was yesterday. But my apologies to you guys, man. I know it's been a while. But, yeah, man, we got to get into it, man. I got to get back in my groove, man. I got to get back in my mode. And so we're going to try to get back into that tonight. But, of course, before we do all of that, I do got to remind you guys how to get in touch with us over here at the Mrs. Spann Official Podcast and let your voice be heard. Go ahead and hit up that hotline at area code 313-288-0485. There's area code 313-288-0485. Leave those voicemail messages. Of course, those voicemail messages will get read here. Played here live on the show and responded to in kind. And if you're watching us here live on Facebook and or YouTube, you can chop it up with your man Spann live while we're doing the show. So again, that number is area code 313-288-0485. You can also follow your man Spann on Threads and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Spann. So go ahead, follow me there. Chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. And also hit us up on our YouTube channel, man. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give us comments on the YouTube channel. We highlight some of those comments and reply to those comments as well. But yeah, man, subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when we're putting some new stuff up on YouTube, man. We appreciate you guys for doing that. Also, if you're listening to us via Spotify and or iTunes, man, we would appreciate you guys left us a 5-star review. Those 5-star reviews are really help, grow the show, and it doesn't cost you a dime, just a couple minutes of your time to let everybody know why you're rocking with us over here at the Mr. Spann Official Podcast and the Spann Report Podcast Network in its entirety, man. Real talk. But yeah, man, like I said, it's been a couple weeks. It's been a few weeks. Actually, it's been over a month since the last time I did a show. Last time I did a show, nigga, it was like right before fucking Halloween. Like, yeah, man, and we done been through Halloween, and now Thanksgiving is come and gone, and like your man Spann didn't give y'all nothing. And you know what, man, y'all don't have to feel sorry for me, man.
Supposed to feel sorry for that bitch. I don't.
I don't expect y'all to. Nah, real talk. I don't expect y'all to, man. I expect y'all to be like, hey, Spann, what the fuck, bro? Like, real talk, man. But I appreciate you guys for your patience, and for those of you who have hit me up, like, yo, man, like, the world. I said something on Threads the other day. I said, yeah, the world is healing. I forgot what the fuck it was about. And someone like, oh, so you hitting the mic? So yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, I appreciate y'all getting y'all foot in my ass, man. Real talk. But yeah, man, we got some things going on, man. I really don't plan on being on the mic too long tonight. I really don't, man. And honestly, dude, like here's what's wild, right? So the last couple of times that I've been on the mic, were times where I did not expect to be talking as much as I did. And then I look up and those episodes are fucking 2 hours long. And it's like, bruh, like I apparently I had a lot to say about that shit. I honestly don't plan on being on like too long tonight. But you know, we'll see what happens as you know as the show flows. You know what I'm saying? That's the one thing I do like about this show is that sometimes, man, hell, I might. You know, it could go anywhere because the shit is live and we don't script this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, the conversation and the commentary that sometimes you guys add it with, you know, from the chat room and everything else, man, that kind of helps the show kind of flow and everything else. So oftentimes I might think it might be a 45-minute show. I look up, it's 2 hours and 9 minutes because I'm conversing with you guys and I'm reading this shit and I'm seeing some more shit and it's like, oh shit, look up 2 hours 9 minutes, right? So yeah, man, we got that going on. But our first story here, man, that we're gonna talk about tonight is Campbell's Soup, man. Now, Campbell's Soup done got in some goddamn hot water because apparently one of the executives thinks that they shit is only for the folk, like broke people. Now, I'll tell you this, man. I got a relationship with the Campbell's Soup, man. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. When I first really started rocking with the Campbell's Soup, your man Spann was broke. I ain't gonna lie. Nigga! Yeah, man, it was a hard time for your man Spann, man. Me and my daughter's mother had just broken up, man. I had just lost my job, man. I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna keep this roof over my head and like a whole bunch of different shit was going on, man. And then on top of that, my gas had gotten cut off at one point. This is before I was working for the gas company, y'all. But at one point, my gas was cut off and shit, man. So I couldn't really cook on the stove, man. I had to figure it out. I had to figure out, hey, man, I got to get a whole bunch of shit at this grocery store because I had a cousin who was looking out. She was sending me some money. And I said, I got to get some stuff at this grocery store. And everything I get at this grocery store, I got to be able to cook in the microwave, right? And so that introduced me to the whole thing of like chunky soups, man. Like I had never had a chunky soup before. I had never had clam chowder before, nothing like that. But I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. It's time to try some new shit. So I got the clam chowder and I loved it. The shit was delicious. I would add rice to my clam chowder and then we'd be even more filling and whatnot. It was great. It was great. But I had no idea that some of the motherfuckers who worked at Campbell's thought that they were just like they were looking down on me for buying their fucking product. That's kind of crazy. So apparently there was this one guy who was an executive at Campbell's. He had a lot to say about the customer base of Campbell's Soup. So we're gonna pull up this video. Of course, I do got a video for y'all. I'm gonna pull this up so you guys can watch right along with your man Spann. Hold on a second while I do this here. Let's see. I'm gonna share this screen. I'm gonna put that tab there and I'm gonna share that and then boom. And then we're gonna do that there. Boom. Okay, let's see what this motherfucker, let's see what happened. What really is the impetus for why this Campbell's Soup executive about lost his job?
Campbell's Soup Company employee is taking legal action against the food giant, and he's making some explosive allegations about one of its top executives. Good evening, and thanks for joining us at 6. I'm Ty Steele.
I'm Kimberly Gill. Those allegations are now at the center of a lawsuit claiming the company's vice president went on an hour-long tirade attacking the company's products and employees before taking aim at its customers.
And the former employee recorded it all. Eric Erickson shares that recording, what the company is saying about it.
This shit sound like it's local to Detroit, though. I'm like, oh shit, it's a local reporter. So yeah, this is some local shit. Hold on, I didn't know that point. I didn't even know that aspect of this story.
We have shit for poor people. Who buys our shit?
And that's just part of an over an hour-long rant, says former security analyst for Campbell's, Robert Garza of Monroe.
I don't buy Campbell's products barely anymore. It's healthy. Now that I know what the in it, even in a can of soup, I look at it, look at meat, bioengineered meat. I don't want to eat a piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer.
This nigga said they had chicken made out of a 3D printer. So what is the clams made out of, my nigga? Because the clam chowder is really my shit. I'm telling you right now, the Campbell's chunky clam chowder, nigga, I fucks it up, bro. That one and the chicken and sausage gumbo, nigga, them my two faves, bro. But he talking about the chicken is bioengineered. What the fuck?
Recording allegedly of Campbell's VP and Chief Information Security Officer Martin Bally.
He has no filter.
Bally, along with another supervisor and Campbell Soup Company, named in a lawsuit filed Thursday. The suit claiming Bally made racist remarks, admits to coming to work high, and Garza fired for coming forward.
What do you think about the things that he was saying?
Oh, just pure disgust.
Garza says he usually worked remotely for Campbell's headquarters based in Camden, New Jersey. But thinking he'd be discussing his salary with Bally, he says the recording taken in person at a restaurant.
Millions on another thing. They couldn't think for the other like you dumb
Garza says he felt sick after the rant, deciding to go to his direct supervisor in January, keeping the recordings to himself.
He had never had any disciplinary action. They had never written him up for poor work performance.
Garza says no one at Campbell's ever followed up, and it's taken him 10 months to find a new job, calling the way the canned soup company handled it simply terrible.
They have a motto, like we treat you like family, here at Campbell's, come work for us, we treat our employees like family. That's not the case.
We did just receive a statement from Campbell's. It says, quote, "If accurate, the comments in the recording are unacceptable. They do not reflect our values and the culture of our company. We are actively investigating this matter."
Okay, so the question that I would have, folks who have heard about this story at this point, do you continue to buy the Campbell soup, right? Are we going to boycott Campbell soup in much the same way that folks are boycotting Target right now? In much the same way that folks are talking about, like this whole like I remember they were talking about like a Black Friday kind of like blackout where folks weren't going to go shopping this weekend. As a matter of fact, today's supposed to be Cyber Monday. Have any of you guys going Black Friday shopping and doing any Cyber Monday shit over the course of this last weekend, right? But yeah, man. So like this happens, and then they finally decide Campbell Soup after this happens, they decided they were going to finally fire the dude who was responsible for saying all this fucked up shit, right? Yeah, man. So let me stop sharing this, and let me get to this other story that's updated for this. All right, so we get an actual picture of the guy who's responsible for saying this silly shit. And so let me go ahead and pull this up so you guys can see right along with your man Spann. And here we go. This is the guy. And everything about this motherfucker looks like a goddamn Trump supporter. Nigga! That shit screamed Trump supporter to me, man. I'm sorry. But let's see what's happening, man. Let's see what the follow-up to this was.
Jersey-based Campbell's has fired an executive who's accused of making racist comments and mocking its products and customers. This comes after a former employee filed a lawsuit against the company and its then Vice President of Information Technology, Martin Bally. A secret recording had been leaked with Bally allegedly describing Campbell's as highly processed food and said it was for poor people. He also allegedly made some racist remarks. The company saying it now believes it is Bally's voice on that recording.
Just a second, y'all. My wife is calling. Yes, dear. How you doing? Yeah. Wow. Not the world, though. Well, it's been fucked up for a while, baby, but I'm not, it's funny because I'm recording right now, but, I wanted to hear I wanted to soothe you, my love. Now shut up. All right. All right. I'll talk to you in a minute. All right. So yeah, Mr. Spann says hello, y'all. But yeah, man. So that's what's going on with Campbell's, man. I don't know what the fuck. Like, are we gonna boycott Campbell's or what? Like, now I know, like, I still do like a good chunky soup. Like, don't get it twisted. I still like a good chunky soup. But are we gonna show Campbell's that we not taking this type of shit? Or did they come out? Did they get out in front of it enough by firing this motherfucker to say, you know what? All right, they did the right thing, and I can go back to buying the chunky soups and not feeling guilty, man. Like, I was thinking about that because as a chunky soup connoisseur, nigga. I was feeling a little conflicted, man. I'm like, shit, now they coming after my shit. You know, it's kind of hard to like boycott some shit that you really, really, really fuck with, right? I know a lot of people get on these mics and they start telling you to boycott some shit and they don't ever frequent these stores or these products or anything else. So it's easy for them to boycott the shit because they don't really fuck with the shit. But when you really fuck with the shit, nigga, you got some decisions to make, right? So yeah, man, we got that going on. Now, another story that we got going on, man, happens to have happened in North Texas, man. So apparently some dudes in North Texas have decided that they wanted to try to take their asses into Haiti and they was going to invade Haiti. They were going to kill the men's. They was going to enslave the women and children there, and they were going to take over the whole shit. Yeah, man. So we get this story here. It comes out of, this is a Fox affiliate in Houston, out of this Fox 26 Houston. There is a video there, but apparently this motherfucker does not want to load. So let's see. Let me go to YouTube and see if I can find another video that has it, because this doesn't want to load. So let me do this here. Let's see. North Texas, man, Haiti. All right, let's see if we can find a video here. All right, we get something from, let's see, NBC Washington, is this? Yeah, this is a two minute clip. So we can watch this here. Give me a second here while I pull this up so you guys can watch right on with your man Spann. Let me pause that, because my man is talking right now when he shouldn't be. All right, and here we go. Let's see what they're talking about here. Let me unmute this video. There we go. Let's see what they're talking about.
Disturbing federal indictment out of Texas. 2 young men are accused of plotting a violent takeover of an island in Haiti. And prosecutors say part of that plan involved recruiting help from people right here in our nation's capital. News 4's Fresis Casado breaks down how the homeless community here in D.C. is now tied to an alleged international murder plot.
Wow.
Investigators first learned about this through online communication they say the men were having. According to a grand jury indictment, they were planning an armed attack on a Haitian island, and to build their so-called force, they plan to come here to D.C. and recruit members of the homeless population. The plot reads like something out of a movie, but prosecutors say 21-year-old Gavin Rivers Weisenberg and 20-year-old Tanner Christopher Thomas were serious. They are accused of planning a coup on a small island off Haiti's coast with about 87,000 residents. They've been charged with conspiracy to murder, maim, or kidnap in a foreign country. According to the indictment, they wanted to sell from the U.S. to Haiti, murder the men on the island, then make the women and children their sex slaves. It's a conspiracy federal investigators say they were planning for nearly a year. Court documents say the men researched weapons, tried learning Haitian.
It was 2 of them, bruh. It was 2 of them. These delusional motherfuckers. Here's the thing. They said the island has about 87,000 people on it, right? These 2 motherfuckers, I don't know how many people they thought they were going to recruit. I don't know how many people they thought were going to be able to like do this and nobody fucking noticed. But it was these 2 silly, stupid, probably Trump supporting motherfuckers who decided that they were going to go to a Haitian island and kill all of the men and enslave the women and children. Are you fucking kidding me, bro? Like, like I feel like we're living in one of the dumbest fucking timelines in the history of timelines, bro. And I know we had the dark ages, and I know we got like the plague, and I know we had like Jim Crow and like slavery and all of that stuff. But even now, bro, with all of the information that we all have at the tip of our fingertips, more often than not, we have more access to information than anybody who has ever had in the history of man. It absolutely makes no sense for people to be this fucking stupid to think that this was a viable option and a viable plan for them to be able to go to a Haitian island, take it over, just the 2 of them. So apparently, because they haven't said anybody else was involved, right? Go to a Haitian island, take it over, kill all of the dudes, like the dudes are just gonna stand by and let the shit happen, and enslave the women and children. This is the kind of fucking, these are the kind of folk who we are in, like, in I don't want to say in league with, because we're not in league with these motherfuckers, but these motherfuckers are our countrymen. They're Americans too. They asses vote too. But these are the people with whom we're voting against, right? Because these are the type of folks who think that, again, us being of color is a problem for them. Or better yet, they think that they are being ethnically replaced in this nation, right? So they are in fear of what they would call ethnic annihilation, so to speak. Because let's be clear, white people are genetically and racially, although race is a made up construct, they are a minority on the planet. And so now they've like, with the way that the internet has been able to kind of pigeonhole folks into, certain silos where you can, kind of self-indoctrinate. You don't need anybody to come to you to indoctrinate you. You can indoctrinate yourself. You fall into these rabbit holes, and these rabbit holes will take you down the path where you be like, oh shit. Right? So now these white dudes are thinking, oh my God, I gotta preserve my race. And these people are here to wipe us out. Meanwhile, these people are just here to try to fucking exist and hope that white folks leave us the fuck alone. Right? But these dudes radicalized themselves to thinking that they were going to be able to go to a goddamn Haitian island with over 87,000 people on it and take the bitch over, and nobody was going to have anything to say about it or do about it. You got to be a high motherfucker to be thinking that kind of shit.
Creole, and even sought military and first responder training. Prosecutors say Thomas changed his Air Force Station assignment to Joint Base Andrews in Maryland, specifically to be closer to D.C. and facilitate recruiting people experiencing homelessness. They allegedly believe they could pay them to join the armed invasion. Federal charges also extend beyond the invasion plot. The men are accused.
Wait. So they went to the homeless. They went to the homeless and thought that the homeless would be able to, like, kind of like they're desperate enough to help us with this shit. So they went to the poor white homeless in Washington, D.C. and thought that they were going to be like, you know what, man? I mean, I'm fucked up over here, but I'll be ready to go over there and fuck up some people that ain't do shit to me. They didn't do a motherfucking thing to me. As a matter of fact, this situation might be worse than the shit that I'm dealing with right here at home. But I'm going to go over there and fuck with them. This is what they thought. And so some of them white guys.
Not never.
Some of them homeless folks was like, yeah, nigga, not never. I ain't doing that.
In a separate count.
Look at this dude's face. That says Trump supporter all day long. That's a Trump supporter right there.
Of producing child pornography involving a minor known to investigators.
And of course they involved in child porn. Of course they involved in child porn. They always are.
If convicted, both face decades, even life, in federal prison. As a reminder, a grand jury indictment is not a conviction. We will keep you updated. In the district, Francis Casado, News 4.
All right, Francis, thank you. I'm sure that this is a story a lot of people want to be updated on. Now, we understand that one of the suspects is scheduled to make a court appearance tomorrow. We will be following that for you.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah, that's crazy. But crazy is as crazy does here in America, because that's pretty much what we dealing with nowadays, man. These motherfuckers are off their goddamn rockers. It is what it is, though, man. We just got to kind of roll with the punches until we can do something about it. And we can do something about it when we go to these polls, man. You don't have to just allow this shit to happen. You don't have to allow it to happen. But we got that going on. Now, another story that we got going on, man. I did say I was going to talk a little bit about Megyn Kelly tonight, but you know what? I'm cool on that. Megyn Kelly is one I swear, man, I don't use the term bitch often, but Megyn Kelly is one miserable bitch. And I don't even want to I feel like this though, right? I feel like Megyn Kelly is a type of person whom has people who, like, those people who, like, they hate politics, right? And I understand when people say, I hate politics, I don't want to get involved with the politics, despite the fact that the politics will do you whether or not you're involved with it or not. I understand that, like, I understand the sentiment to a point where, like, it's because of people like Megyn Kelly who will explain away everything. Like, and they will do a total 180 on a position that they've taken, and then act as though we supposed to ignore the shit that they were saying before because they just all of a sudden did a 180 on a position, right? And so, man, fuck it. I'm gonna just go ahead and play this shit. But yeah, man. So Megyn Kelly, she has taken a 180 position on the Jeffrey Epstein shit, right? Where, everybody was, they like, even Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now everybody's acting like Marjorie Taylor Greene is being really motherfucking reasonable. Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene is like, you know what? She still supports 90% of the shit that Trump and these Republicans want to do, but it's just one thing that she has come out in opposition to them on, and they totally turned their back on that woman. And so now she's actually like, oh my God, I gotta resign because of all of this shit coming my way, and like. But that's how it is for everybody who's always been against Donald Trump. You get a little taste of that, and suddenly you can no longer be a congresswoman anymore. And there's something to be said about the fact that Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to get a pension, and she's going to be able to continue to get her government funded health care that they do not want to extend to the rest of us, right? That they do not want to extend to the rest of us. As a matter of fact, they go out of their way to call it socialized medicine to demonize it, right? But Megyn Kelly has gone out of her way from someone who is staunchly against child pedophilia and everything, and then to someone who would kind of minimize child pedophilia, depending on how the political winds are blowing. And so, yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and pull this up real quick so you guys can watch right along with your man Spann. I wish they had a fucking pause button on Threads. Jesus Christ, Threads. But I'm gonna pull this up so you guys can watch with me. I'm gonna have to rewind it, of course. But yeah, let's see exactly what the hell Megyn Kelly is talking about here. Let me rewind that and unmute it.
Charge or the sexual assault charges. I don't really care if it turns out that the rape charge or the sexual assault charges fall apart. You're 31 years old and you have sex allegedly over a 3-month period with a 16-year-old. We're done. I'm unsubscribing, all right? And I am sick of conservatives online trying to defend that as though she had a role in it. She was a minor. Just because you can't be prosecuted for it doesn't mean it's right. The conservative men I know are lovely. They're ethical. They're honorable. It's not to say they've never fallen down in their lives, but in no world would they be taking advantage of a 16-year-old minor. I have a daughter who's 4 years away from that. You come anywhere near her as a 31-year-old man, and we are going to have a serious problem. And it's not going to be over whether you get demonetized on YouTube. Yes. I really hope my friends on the conservative side of the aisle would remember, just because we're all over Me Too, and it was an overreaction, and it went too far, and it got politicized, it doesn't mean that we have to knee-jerk defend every scumbag who gets accused of bad behavior. As for Epstein, I've said this before, but just as a reminder, I do know somebody very, very close to this case who is in a position to know virtually everything. Not everything, but virtually everything. And this person has told me.
Okay. So you're in a position to know somebody who knows virtually everything. And yet we still have, the rest of us still have to wait for these Epstein files to be released. Despite the fact that Trump could have released them himself, but he didn't. It took a congressional, like the Congress to vote on the shit and the Senate to vote on the shit, and then they went on ahead and he signed the bill, but then it gives him 30 days in which to release the shit. He still hasn't released the shit, despite the fact that he could release it on his own, because as Donald Trump himself said, he can declassify some shit just by thinking about it. It didn't require Congress for him to declassify the shit and to release it. But now we got to wait this 30 days. Now, what is the 30 days about? What they doing? Are they chopping that bitch up? Are they redacting the fuck out of it? Who the fuck knows? But it's interesting to watch her be so strident and angry and like fucking mama bearish about the prospect of someone 31 years of age coming to proposition a daughter of hers who's probably around 12 or 13 years old as she should be rightfully, but then somehow, some way, find herself taking a softer, more understanding tone when it comes to the Epstein files and who Jeffrey Epstein was and how he moved around young girls.
Person has told me from the start, years and years ago, that Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls.
Okay, that's stupid. That's fucking stupid. 15 years old is not barely legal. That is illegal, Megyn Kelly. 15 years old is not barely legal. You know what's barely legal? The girl who just turned 18. The girl who a motherfucker was sitting around waiting for the clock to turn 12 on her birthday. She just turned 18 and he been waiting this whole time. Like Donald Trump was doing with his own fucking daughter. Right? If that wasn't my daughter, I would probably be dating her. This is what Donald Trump said out loud in public on television. Right? So this idea that he liked them barely legal and you describe barely legal at 15, ma'am. Ma'am, what in the R. Kelly is going on here? When you say teenage, how old we talking? Right? Come the fuck on, man.
Not everything, but virtually everything. And this person has told me from the start, years and years ago, that Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls. And I realize this is disgusting. I'm definitely not trying to make an excuse for this. I'm just giving you facts.
It definitely sounds like you're making a motherfucking excuse, though. Let's just keep it a buck. Like even this look on her face, like shit. It does sound disgusting. I'm fucking my integrity. I done sold it already, but fuck.
Giving you facts. That he wasn't into like 8-year-olds, but he liked the very young teen types that could pass for even younger than they were, but would look legal to a passerby. And that is what I believed, and that was what I reliably was told for many years. And it wasn't until we heard from Pam Bondi that they had tens of thousands of videos of alleged, forgive me, they used to call it kiddie porn, now they call it child sexual abuse material, on his computer, that for the first time I thought, oh, no, he was an actual pedophile. I mean, only a pedophile gets off on young children abuse videos.
It took for them to say he was looking at kiddie porn for you to decide whether or not he was being a fucking pedo, despite the fact that he has, at this point that we know of, at least hundreds of young women who said that they were minors when they had their dealings with him. Ma'am, what the fuck are you doing?
Children abuse videos. She's never clarified it. I don't know whether it's true. I have to be honest. I don't really trust Pam Bondi's word on the Epstein matters anymore. Yeah, so I don't know what's true about him, but we have yet to see anybody come forward and say, I was I was under 10. I was under 14 when I first came within his purview. Look, it's
as if is that the criteria now? So we see the sliding scale. Suddenly, now that the Epstein files are about to come out, and it's going to be politically damaging for those of, the people that she ended up supporting. Suddenly we have to soften how we think about pedophilia and who came forward and when. And like, the fact of the matter remains, Jeffrey Epstein was a despicable human being. We know this to be true. And now you're trying to split hairs on whether, they weren't, they were kind of like the girls who were like not of age, but like they looked like they could be of age, but they weren't like 8 or 10. What the fuck is wrong with you, woman? What the fuck is wrong with you?
I don't really trust Pam Bondi's word on the Epstein matters anymore.
I mean, that's the only thing you said that I agree with. I don't trust Pam Bondi with. I wouldn't trust Pam Bondi with a goddamn with nothing, with motherfucking nothing. But still,
I don't know whether it's true. I have to be honest. I don't really trust Pam Bondi's word on the Epstein matters anymore. Yeah, so I don't know what's true about him, but we have yet to see anybody come forward and say I was I was under 10, I was under 14 when I first.
Why does that even have to be the criteria? Why do they have to be that young for you to see that what the fuck he was doing was despicable? Why does the criteria now have to be, I didn't see anybody under 8. I didn't see anybody under 10 saying that that's when they were, how old they were when they came into his purview. What the fuck does it even matter if they were 15, 16, 13, 14, they were underage and you were just going the fuck off. Not even a minute ago, as this video provided, going the fuck off about the prospect of a 31-year-old man coming the way of your daughter, right? This is why people hate politics. This shit right here. These people have no fucking scruples. They have no fucking loyalty to their principles at all. This is why they hate politics, man.
14 when I first came within his purview. Look, you can say that's a distinction without a difference.
No, it's not.
I think there is a difference. Yeah. There's a difference between a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Yeah, they're both. I don't know what the difference is. I know they're both victims of pedophiles. And you can try to soften the blow as much as you want, but the facts remain the same. They are both victims, whether she's a 5-year-old or a 15-year-old. They're both victims of pedophiles. So, yeah, man. I was gonna scrap this shit for the show tonight, but yeah, man, this crazy bitch right here, man. This is I just hate that, man. I hate that. I hate when people allow for like when we start making excuses for shit. We start making excuses for terrible fucking behavior, especially behavior that we've gone out on public record to say, nah, that's fucked up. That's some bullshit. We shouldn't allow that. And then suddenly it becomes politically something that's not necessarily politically viable for you, then suddenly, well, we should have some nuance in this discussion, because I haven't seen anyone at least 5 to 8 years old say that that's when they became part of Jeffrey Epstein's purview. They were at least about 15 to 16 years old. They were looking legal, like, bitch, please. This is why people hate politics, because you think, and maybe she's right. Here's the other part about this, especially about right-wing commentators. Maybe they're right that you are dumb, especially if you're listening to them. They think you're dumb. And if you're dumb, then you will accept the bullshit coming from them and even the twisting of themselves in order to get to a point that they didn't agree with previously. They think you fucking stupid. And sometimes y'all who listen to them prove them correct. Prove them correct. They think you fucking dumb. This is why, I honestly, I have a disdain for especially black folk who find themselves lining up this way. Because there's a constant disrespect of their audience, where they think their audience are a bunch of fucking idiots. And by and large, they not wrong. Y'all prove yourselves to be idiots every fucking day by continuing to slowly and surely disregard everything you stood for before and start making exceptions for it because it's politically expedient. So we got that going on, man.
On the Epstein matters anymore.
But, let me mute that shit because I don't want to hear this lady's voice again. But yeah, man, we got that going on. Let me remove that. And we got some other things to talk about. Now, another story that we wanted to talk about, man. This kind of leans into the idea that MAGA and their political operatives think that you're stupid, right? So this happened. I want to say this happened around last week. I haven't been on Twitter for a little bit more than like 2 years now. Like I said, one of the reasons why I got off of Twitter was the fact that the owner of Twitter openly mused or like we're just thinking about, hey, why isn't anyone trying to assassinate Kamala Harris? Yeah, that was like the straw that broke the camel's back for me. And this has happened after Donald Trump had survived. I want to say, well, okay, so there was that one thing that happened in Pennsylvania, and then there was another plot where I think they found somebody who was hiding on the golf course and waiting for Donald Trump to show up in his crosshairs on the golf course, but they found him before Donald Trump came across him or whatever. And I believe that was around the time when Elon Musk was openly musing about why isn't anyone trying to kill Kamala Harris, right? And I had been on Twitter for about I want to say about 15 years. It wasn't like I had like a grand fucking following on that shit. I only had about 1,300 followers on Twitter around the time that I deactivated my page over there. And then I went back and I reactivated the page only to hold my name. I'm not active on Twitter at all. I just got the, I just want to hold my name over there, right? But yeah, man. So what ended up happening was, Elon Musk buys Twitter, changes a lot of things that he's claimed that he hated about Twitter, but also he just hated that those things were being, those tools were being used against people who he was politically aligned with. So when he got a hold of Twitter, when he was actually forced to buy Twitter because he had offered to buy Twitter, and then then he tried to pull out of that deal, and then they forced him to buy the shit. So all of the things that he said he was against was not necessarily that he was against that shit. It was just that he was against that this shit was happening against the people that he was politically aligned with. So he started doing that shit to the people that he wasn't. He did start suspending pages that were not politically aligned with him. He did start charging people for the blue check marks to give them, what would you call, like they would have boosted fucking visibility on the website, that they would be given some, I guess, level of legitimacy. Like the check mark used to be, you were someone of prominence or you were someone of legitimate meaning, right? That people could follow you and they could understand that this is the actual person behind that account. You no longer have that feeling about that. And I remember some years ago, when I was on Twitter and I was playing, I was a part of the Twitter blue shit. This is before Elon Musk bought the shit. And people were like, yo, man, you bought the blue check mark. I'm like, nigga, I didn't buy the blue check mark. I actually bought the ability to like tweet longer and put high quality videos up that was longer than 10 minutes so I can try to promote the podcast. I didn't give a fuck about that blue check mark. But, like people didn't necessarily understand the nuances of that. And I get it. Everybody ain't reading the shit the same way that I'm reading the shit. But at a certain point, when it came to Elon Musk, it's like, all right, look, when this motherfucker's out here advocating for the assassination attempts of a presidential candidate, yeah, I'm out. And so I started looking for other options as to how I can, kind of engage with the audience and everything else. So I tried Blue Sky. Blue Sky was all right, but like, it was hard. Like, honestly, to me, Blue Sky was kind of hard to follow. There was a whole bunch of shit going on with Blue Sky where like you had, it was a lot. I really didn't get into the Blue Sky in much the same way that I was able to get into Threads. And I've been on Threads from the very motherfucking beginning, from the very first day. And, many of the things that, like, I mean, I do have some misgivings about I'm not Elon Musk, but Mark Zuckerberg, it being another Mark Zuckerberg product. But ultimately, like, I do feel like I can curate my feed in a much more effective way on Threads than many of these other platforms, man. If I come across a MAGA motherfucker, I can block this motherfucker. I can hide his responses to my shit for everybody so nobody sees this shit. I can, restrict the motherfucker from, like even comment on my stuff. Like, it's a whole bunch of different tools that are available to me on Threads that was not available to me on X or Blue Sky for that matter, right? So I've been rocking on Threads for the last two, I want to say almost 3 years now. As long as Threads has been out, your man Spann been on Threads, right? So a couple weeks ago though, and this kind of goes back into some shit that we were talking about way back in like 2015, 2016, where they were talking about how the Russians were involved in a social media campaign to influence the election of 2016, right? Now, many people think that, when Donald Trump won the presidency in 2016, that that like that meant that like we were saying like that people were saying that the Russians like actually changed votes. It was like, no, it wasn't necessarily that they changed votes, but it did influence people in a certain way, right? There was an influence campaign going on in 2016, and I've been saying this since 2016. Excuse me. That if you think that the influence campaign in 2015 stopped after Donald Trump was elected in 2016, I got a motherfucking bridge in Brooklyn to sell you. I got magic beans stacked up in my basement right now, nigga, 2 for 1 right now for you. If you believe that shit stopped in 2015. The influence campaigns have not stopped. They never stopped. And so inadvertently, Elon Musk last week allowed for people to see the origins of some of the pages who were behind some of some of these MAGA influencers, right? Or he allowed for people to see the origins of the pages of these influencers. And more often than not, if it was involved with MAGA, a lot of their more popular pages were originated from somewhere foreign. All right, so we get the story here. This comes out of Newsweek. And let's see, we read the article. It says a new update to Elon Musk's X has revealed that a significant number of MAGA accounts are actually based outside of the U.S. And accounts country of origin can now be seen in the user's profile page. Now the locations of popular MAGA accounts known for promoting America First ideologies and sharing American political content have been exposed to have been originated in countries in Africa, Asia, and Europe. Newsweek has reached out to X outside of regular working hours via email for comment. Why it matters. Nikita Bayer, head of product at X, shared in a post on November 22nd that X was set to roll out a new feature called About This Account, which will allow you to see the country or region where the account is based. The location is visible via clicking on the sign up date on an X profile. Bayer described the step as an important first step in securing the integrity of the global town square and said that they plan to provide many more ways for users to verify the authenticity of the content they see on X. It was noted that in a follow-up post that there are a few rough edges and any incorrect data will be updated periodically. So they were trying to cover themselves. But responses to the locations of different accounts and subsequent concerns over the authenticity of the account have quickly flooded the platform. It says accounts that identify as being MAGA and promote the America First agenda have been identified as being based in countries including Chile, Nigeria, and Morocco. Newsweek has compiled a list of said accounts below. So let me go ahead and share this list with y'all. Let me go ahead and pull this up so y'all can see what they're talking about here on Newsweek. Let me go ahead and add this to the scene. All right, let's see what they're talking about here. All right, American Patriot. This account at Cold War Patriot has over 140,000 followers on X, whose bio reads a U.S. Air Force veteran, nuclear Ronald Reagan JFK, hashtag 20, Donald J. Trump, hashtag 19 constitutionalist, hashtag 1776, hashtag Second Amendment, has a listed location of Chile. Nigga, he in Chile. All right. This is America First 0, which has over 60,000 followers on X and whose bio reads Make America Great Again and has a listed location of Bangladesh. Nigga, they're Bangladesh. Nigga! All right, MAGA Scope. The location listed for the MAGA Scope account, which has over 50,000 followers, is in Nigeria.
Think of how stupid the average person is, and then realize half of them are stupider than that.
Yeah, man. Okay, we also have MAGA Nadine. The account Female Body Build 6, which states that they're in their bio that they are an immigrant in the USA and they are a Trump lover and has the MAGA hashtag in their bio and has over 390,000 followers on the platform, is located as being listed in Morocco, man. Oh, shit.
Who are these niggas? We need to stay away from these niggas.
Yeah, man. So then we got MAGA Nation, the account MAGA Nation. X, whose bio reads standing strong with President Trump, America first, patriot voice for the we the people, and has over 390,000 followers on the platform, has a listed location of being a part of the Eastern Europe, which is not a part of the European Union, man.
Nigga, did you know that I can see you?
Yeah, man. Okay, they got.
It's on your nose.
It's on your nose. Oh man, the Dark MAGA, the location listed for the account Dark MAGA Coin, which has over 15,000 followers, is in Thailand.
Big mama, your arm.
Yeah, man, a whole bunch of fucked up shit. Said MAGA and World. The account MAGA World 4896 has over 3,000 followers, is based in East Asia and the Pacific. That account states in his bio that it is overseas MAGA and has a cover photo of an American flag. Well, okay, I'll get them some grace, because they said we overseas. The rest of these motherfuckers pretending they right here in fucking Nebraska or something. America Man. The account America Man _hero has over 15,000 followers on the platform, and he listed in Indonesia. Yeah. It says MAGA, the account MAGA 100X has over 1,000 followers on the platform and is listed as a location in Germany. So yeah, man, it's a whole bunch of this shit. It's a whole bunch of some MAGA accounts have swiftly deleted their profiles after having been identified as being outside of the U.S. The account 1776 General, who had over 40,000 followers on X, was identified as being based in Turkey, but posted a picture of a U.S. passport and said that they are in Turkey for work, nigga. For work. Nigga! It is worth noting that many high-profile MAGA accounts like MAGA Voice, End Wokeness, and Libs of TikTok are all based in the U.S. There has not been a significant discourse about left-wing U.S. accounts posted from outside the country, but it's worth noting that many left, liberal, or Democrat voices have left X in recent years in opposition to Musk. So you got that going on, man. But honestly, man, we've been talking about this for over 10 years now, man. And especially on places like X and even sometimes on Threads. I have there, like, when I can tell when I'm dealing with like a Trump supporter on Threads, well, very seldom do I deal with a Trump supporter on Threads. Oftentimes I just block them and mute them and everything else. But, you know, every now and again, your man get bored. You know what I'm saying? Every now and again, your man get bored. And so when I do get bored, oftentimes I might engage with them. But before I do engage with them, I try to see, like, how many people are you a bot or not? And so I go to their page and I engage. I see what the profile picture looks like. I see how many actual original thoughts they presented, right? Because oftentimes these bots, they just reply to shit. They never actually present their own thoughts about anything. So I'll go to that page. If they don't have, you know, they might have one or two fucking original thoughts and then everything else is the goddamn reply, then yeah, that's probably a bot, and I just go ahead and block their asses. But every now and again, you know, on Threads, I might see somebody on Threads who's, you know, on a conservative kick, and, you know, I might kick the shit for a little bit if I'm bored, right? And then, you know, when I get finished, you know, being bored with it, I'm over it, and then I just go ahead and block them and shit. I kind of toy with them a little bit. But yeah, man, the idea that MAGA is all over social media, especially a platform like X with bots and people who are not from here. Like, again, if you thought that the idea of MAGA being like, I feel like this a lot of the times, especially on platforms like X and like Twitter, even, you know, shit, even Blue Sky and Threads for that matter. You got to really do your own due diligence to figure out, am I talking to a bot or not? Because oftentimes you may end up arguing with a fucking bot. So you just gotta kind of do your due diligence and whatnot, man, and save and protect your energy in that way. But the fact that so many of these pro MAGA accounts were being linked to sources outside of the United States does not surprise me. We already knew this from 2015 and 2016. Unfortunately, some of us, I guess, have relaxed in our diligence in how we approach these particular situations, and also kind of forgotten, because niggas have, you know, unfortunately in America, people have fucking really short memories, man. Really short memories. Because if their memories weren't as fucking short, Donald Trump wouldn't be motherfucking president right now. Real talk. Real talk. So we got that going on, man. Now, let's get to the shit that, well, there's a couple things, right? So I said, the title of this show tonight is this is the last time I'm talking about Stephen A. Smith, right? And this will be the last time I talk about Stephen A. Smith, because I feel like Stephen A. Smith has essentially, this is the thing, and we've talked about this thing on this show a few times, right? Where this is about attention. This is an attention economy, especially if you're doing any sort of like content creation or anything else. This is an attention economy. And many times you'll find people doing incendiary things because they know that the incendiary things are what garners them attention. And that attention brings eyeballs, and those eyeballs bring revenue. And that revenue is what they're really after, whether or not they believe in the shit that they're talking about or not. Right. And so part of the reason why this is going to be the last time I talk about Stephen A. Smith is because I feel as though at this particular point, Stephen A. Smith is doing a lot of shit that he may or may not, I'll say that, he may or may not believe in the shit that he's really saying out here, but he knows that it garners him attention, and that attention brings more revenue, right? But he's not the only one guilty of that shit. There's another person who's guilty of that shit, another black person who's guilty of that shit. And that person goes by the name of CJ Pearson. Now, CJ Pearson is someone I've kind of watched grow up, because I am someone who has been, I'm politically in tune, right? I watch a lot of this shit. I pay attention to a lot of this shit. I'm aware of some of the, the conservative talking heads and everything else, not because I want to be, but because I know that these are the people who they're going to present to me with the bullshit. I've seen some interesting fucking, rabbit holes, and I'm not even so much rabbit holes, but I've seen some heel turns in ways that I never, fucking thought that I would see. Like someone like a Tara Setmeyer, who was on CNN oftentimes arguing against the case against George Zimmerman, right? She was one of those conservatives who was talking about how George Zimmerman should walk off, with what happened, what he did with Trayvon Martin and everything else. But if you would have seen Tara Setmeyer today, you wouldn't know that. Tara Setmeyer is one of those conservatives who are, never Trump. And so when you see Tara Setmeyer on fucking, cable news and shit like that today, you would think that she's been liberal for a whole long. No, she was a conservative. She just don't like Trump. But oftentimes, enemies make strange bedfellows, right? So I've seen a bunch of people kind of shift in tune with like that. We don't really like what's going on. We don't fuck with y'all like that, but we'll fuck with y'all for the moment because we don't like this motherfucker, right? So Tara Setmeyer kind of, sits in that space. I want to say, what's the guy from the Bulwark, man? I keep seeing him. He was a George W. Bush guy for a long time. He was on the Jeb Bush campaign back in 2015. I'm forgetting his name right now. I want to say it starts with Miller or something like that. But yeah, man, like we're starting to see, we'll start to see, like even if you watch MS Now, it's not MSNBC anymore, it's MS Now, but even some of the more prominent voices on that network, it's considered a liberal network. But many of the people that are on that network who have prominent shows are former Republicans, like Nicole Wallace, like Joe Scarborough, right? Nicole Wallace worked for George W. Bush. Fucking Joe Scarborough was a Republican congressman from Florida, right? These are two of the biggest shows on the whole fucking network, but they're on the liberal channel now. You wouldn't know this if you didn't have the history around it, right? So I say all that to say that when it comes to people like CJ Pearson and Stephen A. Smith, I am astutely and keenly aware that when it comes to being the black person who will say the thing that white people wish they could say, there's never a shortage of niggas who will line up to do that shit because it pays really good money, right? So one of the things about CJ Pearson is that CJ Pearson was a kid when I first became aware of who he was. He was a very young kid. I want to say he might have been like 11 or 12 years old when I first come across him. I would see him on YouTube. He would make these videos. He was talking shit about Barack Obama at the time. He was like one of the few black kids in America going on social media, making YouTube videos, talking shit about Barack Obama, right? And in large part, I never said anything about this kid because he was a kid. He was young. Didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. Still doesn't. But he was a child. And I wasn't going to, be about the business of excoriating a child on social media. Like, this is a kid. Why the fuck, right? But in the wake of Charlie Kirk's murder or assassination or however the fuck you want to frame it, the right has been trying to find the next voice of, youth conservatism. They've been trying to find that next voice. And part of their search for the next voice has been someone like a CJ Pearson. Now, I'm going to play you a little bit of CJ Pearson here on this show. Okay? I'm going to pull up a show that a video that he put up on YouTube where he says that Democrats have a racism problem. Okay? So let me go ahead and pull this up so you guys can see what I'm seeing. And yeah, let's do that. And let's see exactly what the fuck CJ Pearson is talking about these days. All right.
All CJ Pearson here, and welcome to Family Matters. It's so good to see you. We have a jam-packed show ahead of you for today. But first, let's get into it. The Democrats have a racism problem. They always have. And if history is any guide, they always will. And maybe that's why I don't really give much of a damn about some random group chat that consists of a bunch of Republicans that no one has ever heard of.
Now, understand off top, we are not even 20 seconds into this fucking presentation. And CJ Pearson, while accusing Democrats of having a racism problem, is already minimizing the racist group chats that the young Republicans had come out in those political pieces, right? He's already discounting that. Despite the fact that evidence shows, hey, these people don't really like you. They don't. He's already like, nah, nobody's ever heard of these people. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter whether or not we heard of these people. These are the people that are a part of the apparatus. And these are the people who are talking negatively about not just you, but like the people who look like you. But somehow, some way, you easily just brush that off your shoulders like it don't matter. Think about that.
On in the back of the bus, and now somehow they've convinced half the country that they're the good guys? Amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Truly.
We miss something.
About some random group chat that consists of a bunch of Republicans that no one has ever heard of. These are the people who founded the Ku Klux Klan.
Okay. So if you've ever, I'm sorry, for those of you who may have watched episode 85, we break down the shift in how Republicans and Democrats, especially Republican and Democratic politicians and voters, have kind of shifted in the ways in which they operate. So yeah, the Democrats founded the KKK. Who are the ones right now who are bemoaning the idea of taking down KKK moderates? That would be Republicans. Who are the ones right now who are trying to preserve the idea of the Confederate flag? That wouldn't be Democrats. That would be Republicans today. So, again, we've run through that before. We're not going to do that again.
Who wrote Jim Crow into law, who told my great-grandmother she belonged in the back of the bus, and now somehow they've convinced half the country that they're the good guys? Amazing. Truly. And of course, when you bring this up, they say, oh, that was a long time ago. Sure, except it's not. The same instinct, the same hatred for independent-minded black Americans is alive and well. Just look at 2021. Larry Elder runs for governor of California. A brilliant, self-made black man in the Los Angeles Times calls him a, quote, blackface for white supremacy.
Okay. Now think about this for a second. How many black people in California voted for Larry Elder? Now, the idea was that because he's black, that black people will vote for him. But the policies that he was presenting to California's at the time didn't garner black support. Why do you think that is? You think all of the people in California were reading the Los Angeles Times? What about the Sacramento Bee? What about the San Francisco Chronicle or whatever else fucking newspaper they had? What about the San Jose newspaper? What about, I mean, there's a bunch of large cities in California. California is a pretty big fucking place. So yeah, they call Larry Elder a blackface and white supremacy. I would say the same thing about you, right? Because you just essentially just try to yada yada the white supremacy that was already displayed in the group text with the young Republicans. You started your show with that.
Let that sink in. According to the left, if you don't think the way they tell you to, you're not really black. They moved on from burning crosses to canceling you online, but it's all the same ideology. Or take Winsome Sears, a Marine, veteran, immigrant, mother, and one of the most inspiring women in politics. A liberal protester, who was white by the way, held up a sign saying, "Hey Winsome, if trans can't share your bathroom, then blacks can't share my water fountain." That's not edgy, that's not progressive, that's racism.
Is it though? If you can't, hold on. Understand something right now. You can't be bothered to acknowledge the racism of the group text of the young Republicans, but you're outraged at the fact that some random white lady with a sign that's talking about trans people and using water fountains. This is the shit that I'm saying. When it comes to Republicans and black Republicans in particular, like, no one can take you seriously because you don't take yourself seriously. You don't take your argument seriously. As a matter of fact, I think what you typically do, you think that your audience is fucking stupid. I really think that Republicans think that the people who listen to them are fucking stupid. And so when I hear someone like CJ Pearson operated in this way at this age, now he's fair fucking game. Because it's like, hey, little motherfucker, you know what you're saying is some bullshit. Historically, what you are saying is some bullshit and historically inaccurate, right? But you will ignore blatant fucking racism coming from your party, the party that pays you, because understand something, man, it pays good money to be a black talking head for the Republican Party in this time. Because they give license to racist white Republicans to say the shit they always want to say. These black people give them the cover for that. And so I would never respect anything of this sort. When you open your shit, you open your fucking show dismissing the blatant racism coming from Republicans, and then call yourself highlighting alleged racism from a woman who's essentially saying, hey, you're discriminated against another group, therefore it's no different than discriminating against this, than the discrimination that your people have faced, right? That's essentially what the message of that sign was. Both of those things are discrimination. They're both wrong. But somehow, some way, you think that because the candidate was black, that she can't also be a part of discriminating against another group, which is bullshit. It's bullshit.
The exact kind that Democrats pretend to evolve beyond. See, the truth is this: the left doesn't hate racism, they hate free thinkers. When a black conservative...
Is it free thinking when you're just thinking about... Is it really free thinking when you're just regurgitating white conservative talking points? The only thing that you would consider, like every black conservative that I know, that I've known, all consider themselves free thinkers only because they have taken the contrarian view of black politics and black socioeconomic issues. That's it. That's all. It is a contrarian view. There's nothing free thinking about it. You are just a contrarian who thinks being a contrarian makes you special. It does not. It does not. However, I'm old enough to remember when it comes to CJ Pearson that there was a time where this young man renounced his conservative bona fides. He didn't want anything to do with being a motherfucking conservative anymore. I'm old enough to remember this because again, I've been seeing this dude since he was a kid, man. Since he was a kid. So let me do this here. Let me go ahead and share this so you guys can see. We get this story here. This comes from CNN. This is when he was on YouTube earlier in his life talking hella shit about Barack Obama, man. Viral teen YouTube star renounces conservatism. This story is from November 28, 2015. 2015. Same kid. Y'all see this dude. Same fucked up hairline and everything. It's a conservative fucking thing. I don't know what it is about their hairlines and conservatism, but he slams the White House over an invite. So let's see what the hell CJ Pearson is saying in this video right here. See if that shit loads.
Politicians promised to lower healthcare costs. Mike Duggan has actually done it. He delivered affordable health insurance and cheap.
All right. This is the Michigan governor's ad. I don't see ads mostly on, on my YouTubes and shit. So my apologies, y'all. So I got to mute this for those of you who are not watching. But unfortunately, we got to go through this before we can actually see what the fuck CJ Pearson was saying back in 2015. But all right, here we go.
It has been a roller coaster of a week for 14-year-old Ahmed Mohammed. He's the Texas teenager who on Monday was handcuffed and escorted out of his high school after being accused of making a fake bomb.
What the fuck? This ain't the story, y'all.
By Wednesday came the outpouring of support with internship offers from Reddit and Twitter and even an invitation to the White House from President Barack Obama. But not all of the reaction has been supportive, especially from one 13-year-old Georgia boy.
Now, Mr. President, when Kate Steinle was gunned down by an illegal immigrant, you didn't do anything. You didn't even call him family. You didn't invite them to the White House. But when a Muslim kid builds a clock, well, come on by. What is this world that you're living in?
Since it was posted, that clip has gone viral, but the majority of the reaction on social media has been supportive for 14-year-old Ahmed Mohammed. He does say, however, he has no plans of returning to that high school. His family is looking at options both inside and outside of the country. The Irving Police Department defended their detention of Ahmed, saying with the limited information they had at the time, the detention was justified.
Okay, so the story is different from this video. Okay, so let me go ahead. Wait, I didn't mean to not stop. I didn't want to stop sharing that. I want y'all to see this shit. Yeah, I want y'all to see this shit. That's not what we were trying to do here. What we want to do is minimize this video so we can read this article about CJ. So it says the 13-year-old internet phenom who gained national attention. Let me maximize this so you guys can read this article right along with me. So yeah, let's do that. Here we go. Okay. The 13-year-old internet phenom who gained national attention criticizing President Barack Obama and briefly was a part of the Ted Cruz campaign is renouncing conservatism, y'all. He said he is looking to be a voice unbound by party ideology. CJ Pearson told for CNN on Friday that concerns about the Republican Party's viewpoints on racial and gender disparity as well as youth issues convinced him that he can no longer be a mouthpiece for conservatism. Well, damn it, you could have fucking fooled us. You could have fucking fooled us, man. I was tired of being a champion of a party that turned a blind eye to racial discrimination. Meanwhile, the young Republicans are out here texting out some racist shit, and he's like, but don't nobody know who they is. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Says, I'm tired of being a champion of any cause that denies equal rights to every American. Tired of being a champion of a party that doesn't care about the issues important to young people. Pearson wrote in an email. It's fucking funny. It's fucking funny because, again, I've told y'all time and time again, it pays really well to be the black face of racist talking points, man. It pays too well. So he's going back to the grift. He's going back to the grift. Even to the point where now he's saying that he don't want, those young Republican, racist texts, like, we don't even know who those people are really. Those are the people that are part of the apparatus of the Republican Party, right? The 13-year-old African-American YouTube star from Georgia said in an interview that he began considering the change after the conversation with another teen friend who asked why he doesn't speak out on racial discrimination, to which he replied he was concerned his followers wouldn't be pleased. Now think about this for a second. He was concerned that his followers wouldn't be pleased. At 13 years old, C.J. Pearson understood that if he talked about racial discrimination, that the people who were supporting him and promoting him and sharing his videos wouldn't be happy with him talking out against racial discrimination. He knew this back in 2015 when he was 13 fucking years old. So when you see a C.J. Pearson out here right now advocating for Republican policies and, just kind of discarding the racist shit that these young Republicans were sharing amongst themselves, understand that C.J. Pearson knows that the people who pay him would frown, would not necessarily like him saying anything about that. So now he doesn't say anything about that. He downplays the shit because he knows it pays. Over the past few days, I thought about essentially how I don't want people to follow me because I'm that anti-Obama kid, or who called out Hillary Clinton, or who took Bernie Sanders to task. Pearson said, I don't want to be the conservative wonder kid that people follow because I make them feel good and like young people are a part of their movement. I want to be followed because I'm the voice of a generation that doesn't have a voice at the table. Get the fuck out of here. It's a grift, y'all. It's always been a grift. Anytime you find one of these niggas who will often just downplay the racism of this Republican Party, nigga, they getting paid, man. It's a grift. He said the video of Laquan McDonald being shot 16 times by a police officer in Chicago helped open his eyes to the systemic problems of racial discrimination in America and the need to look at the issues objectively. Pearson was also the chairman of the Teens for TED and part of the presidential campaign for the Republican Texas senator, but separated with the Cruz campaign at the beginning of the month. Pearson said that Cruz wasn't doing enough for issues affecting young people. And again, this article was from fucking 2015. 2015. It's 2025. A decade ago, this kid understood. He understood that these Republicans don't give a fuck about black people. But that's not what he's telling you today. And the reason why he's not telling you that today is because it pays really good money to be the black person who will excuse white people for their racism. Bottom line. Bottom line. But he's not the only one. He's not the only one. Stephen A. Smith is another one. Now, like I said, this is going to be the last time that I'll talk about Stephen A. Smith on this show, with any length or anything like that. But Stephen A. Smith has taken a really right heel turn, right? I can remember when he really started trying to get involved in the right, in the politics sphere, how he really tried to, act as though he was going to defer to those who had more expertise in a particular topic than he. So he would have folks on like a Roland Martin or hell, not even shit. The only person I can think of he ever really had on was Roland Martin. And he acted very deferential to Roland Martin when he had Roland Martin on his show. But I can remember there was an exchange that he had with Karen Hunter over at Urban View, where he really was upset with something friend of the show my man Rod over at the Black Guy Who Tips said about him on her show, was upset with her about allowing someone like Rod to say some of these things about him, and trying to frame it as though you supposed to be my friend and you let these people say this thing about me on your show and they don't really know me, yada yada yada. Meanwhile, everything that Rod said about this motherfucker has been quite accurate, right? It's been quite accurate. Now, Stephen A has gone out of his way to not only just be the sportscaster who's all over fucking ESPN, but suddenly we're starting to find Stephen A on all these other podcasts. People are inviting him on to talk about all these issues as though Stephen A has a fucking expertise in all these issues, which he fucking doesn't, right? Now, we've talked about him in ways, it's like our frustration with it is like, yo, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth, dude. And there's this thing that Stephen A. Smith is trying to do where he's trying to present himself as an enlightened centrist, when essentially what he's doing is just laundering Republican talking points and presenting it as him just being someone in the middle. It's bullshit. It's always been bullshit. Okay? And we've talked about that multiple times here on the show. All right? Now, recently, there have been a couple instances of Stephen A. Smith having some really fucked up things to say. Some really fucked up things to say that I felt needed to be challenged. And like I said, this will probably be the last time I talk about this son of a bitch on this show because I don't agree with some of the shit that he's been saying as of late. But first thing I'm gonna pull up is so on his show recently, he talked about Senator Mark Kelly. Okay, Senator Mark Kelly, I want to say Michigan Senator Alyssa Slotkin, and a few other Democratic Congress people made a video. And in that video, they reminded the armed forces, the people who are under the command of Donald Trump, because he's their commander in chief, but they were reminding them that you do not, as someone who has taken an oath to the Constitution, have to execute orders that are illegal, right? Doesn't sound like anything that anybody should take it fucking offense to at all. You do not have to execute illegal, unconstitutional orders. That is not controversial. It should not be controversial. Yet somehow, some way, Stephen A. Smith thought it was controversial for them to say so. So I'm going to pull this video up so you guys can see Stephen A. Smith losing his shit over the fact that these Congress people and these senators said, hey, you shouldn't be executing illegal orders. So let me pull this up so you guys can see right along what your man's saying. Hold on a second while I pull this up. All right. Here we go. Let's see what this motherfucker's talking about.
To our military men and women who serve under my command because I'm the commander-in-chief. You could have said that and stopped right there. Traitorous.
Wait, let me back it up.
Punishable by death.
Right now, Stephen A. is doing his both sides shit. Right? Right now, Stephen A. is doing his both sides shit. Stephen A. is acting like I'm coming at both of them. I ain't got no allegiance to both of them. You don't want to make an enemy out of me. Right? He doing that shit.
Mr. President. That's not entirely true. You could have said seditious language, and you may have had a point, particularly when it comes to what we saw on video from Senator Mark Kelly. I don't know if we have that video right now, but I'd like to see it if we did. My point is, you could have said seditious language. You could have said that was irresponsible. You could have said, how dare you give such a directive to our military men and women who serve under my command because I'm the commander-in-chief. You could have said that and stopped right there. Traitorous.
He's already given Trump way too much motherfucking leeway. They said these troops, those folks in the armed forces, are under obligation by their oath to not follow illegal and unconstitutional orders. This isn't controversial. It's fucking common sense. And somehow, some way, you think that Trump has a fucking argument in this. He absolutely fucking doesn't. They said unlawful, unconstitutional, illegal orders. What are we even talking about here, Stephen A? Think about it. What are we talking about? That's crazy. Oh, shit.
Punishable by death? That's a bit extreme, Mr. President. Highly irresponsible on your part, I might add. Definitely hyperbolic. Beyond the realms of embellishment.
Again, like I said, he's doing his both sides shit right now.
And dare I say, irresponsible on your part to be coming out with such rhetoric like that. You're calling for a United States senator to be seen as a traitor, to be arrested. You're accusing him of an act of treason, punishable by death, and you think that helps. Before,
it's so performative, bro. It is so fucking performative, man.
I go any further, I'd like my team to put up on the screen the credentials of this particular senator who called for Trump's orders to be ignored. I would like to remind you that this is a retired United States Navy combat pilot who served our country with honor and distinction. I'd like to remind the president this is a NASA astronaut, not to mention a sitting United States senator in the United States of America. That's what you just said. Respectfully, Mr. President, Mark Kelly served this country with distinction. You didn't. Not as a military official. I forgot what it was that Westmore joked about when it came to you, the governor of Maryland, and what rationale you used to avoid entry into the United States military when you were younger.
Bone spurs, man.
But you would
Everybody knows
think that there's a level of sensitivity that the president would have. Sensitivity maybe not towards Mark Kelly, but towards the process. Knowing our country and who we are and what we stand for. And he should not be saying something like that.
Yeah.
Having said that,
both sides, y'all.
Respectfully, to Senator Mark Kelly and the other 5 representatives
Here it comes,
in our
y'all.
nation's capital.
Here it come.
Trump wasn't entirely correct. That's true. He also wasn't entirely incorrect. Senator Slotkin, Senator Kelly, Representatives Crow, DeLuzio, Houlihan, and Goodlander.
Shit.
The president wasn't entirely wrong. He may have gone too far with treasonous, punishable by death. But was he wrong to allude to the word seditious or to say the word seditious, particularly when it comes to the language that emanated out of the mouth of Mark Kelly? At least that's the one I saw. No, he was not. Matter of fact, if I remember correctly, looking at Senator Slotkin on television, I believe it was on ABC over the weekend. She claimed on national television, National Guardsmen were going to start shooting at American civilians. That wasn't responsible. Senator Slotkin, what's that about?
I wish he would have actually shown the video of her saying that, but he doesn't. He doesn't show that.
What's that about? That doesn't help matters. And as it pertains to Senator Kelly, let's make sure we point this out too, because this is incredibly important. It really, really is. When you look at Senator Kelly and what he said, I asked somebody, one of my researchers, to look this up for me because I wanted to know
not his research
exactly what this was. And what am I asking about, ladies and gentlemen? I'll tell you what I'm asking about. Because when he called for the military to essentially ignore orders, I started thinking back to that movie, A Few Good.
That's not what they said. This is a sleight of hand. That's not what they said. They said to ignore illegal orders. They didn't just tell the motherfuckers to go out here and just say fuck it all willy-nilly. They told them you do not have to follow illegal orders. This is the type of shit that goes around social media. This is the type of shit that goes around media. And for those of us who aren't paying attention, who don't, I don't really fuck with politics like that, man. You know what I'm saying, man? They all the same, two birds, same, one bird, two wings, you know what I'm saying? All that shit. For the people who don't pay attention, that shit will fly right the fuck over. That is not what they said. They said illegal orders, and this silly motherfucker right here that's misinformation right there. That is misinformation right there. Now, I know a lot of y'all call yourselves getting y'all feelings when y'all were talking when folks was going at Charlemagne and when he came at Roland Martin about some of the shit he was saying about the government shutdown and the Democrats fighting for the extension of SNAP benefits and things of that nature, right? And not only just the SNAP benefits, but the healthcare subsidies that they wanted to extend. And Charlemagne made a whole bunch of people think that shit was a done deal. It was already done with. No, it wasn't. That shit doesn't kick in until January. But the Democrats are fighting for them to lower the fucking subsidy. Them to lower the cost of healthcare by presenting government subsidies or continuing the government subsidies. That was misinformation. Stephen A. right now, misinformation. And I know a lot of us aren't media trained or we're not paying attention that closely. And it's only because I do this that I can recognize it when it's happening. And it's only because I've been doing this for shit damn near 15 years that I can recognize when it's happening. That right there was misinformation.
I started thinking about Tom Cruise having the character played by Kiefer Sutherland. I think it was Lieutenant Kendrick. And when he was grilling him, and there was an objection from the DA, Kevin Bacon, I remember the judge looking at Tom Cruise and saying, and I will remind you, you're talking to a decorated officer. Because essentially it was a reminder that this isn't a normal court of law. This is the United States military. They live by a different code. They live by a different code of ethics. It's called the Uniform Code of Military Justice, UCMJ. It's the federal law that governs the conduct of all U.S. military personnel, active duty reservists, and in some cases, even retired service members. It functions as the military's legal system, separate from civilian law, with its own courts, crimes, procedures, and punishments. That's what it says here. What does the Uniform Code for Military Justice actually do? It sets the rules for crimes and offenses, service member rights, court-martial procedures, non-judicial punishment, Article 15, by the way, and command authority. Why it exists? Because military service requires standards of discipline and readiness beyond civilian law. Essentially, a consistent legal framework. If anybody knows that, it's Mark Kelly.
No shit. No shit. You act as if you're talking to... Again, because Stephen A. doesn't think that his audience is smart, he's acting as though he's presenting this information as if that is an indictment on Senator Kelly. Senator Kelly already knows this, which is why what he said wasn't fucking wrong. You are out here chasing this red herring, bro. Donald Trump is out here, and his defense secretary, Hegseth, are out here giving out illegal orders. And what these 5 or 7 congressional people were reminding the military was that, hey, you do not have to execute these illegal orders. Because keep in mind, you will be held accountable for these illegal orders. Donald Trump is operating with immunity and impunity because the Supreme Court has told him his actions as president of the United States, he is immune. You think that Pete Hegseth doesn't already have a pardon waiting for him for the shit that he does as basically executing the order that Donald Trump told him to do? They will throw all of y'all motherfucking asses under the bus while Donald Trump walks away from a bunch of shit. So for Stephen A to act as though Smart Kelly doesn't know the UMC jet or like the uniform military dresses or whatever the fuck it is, to act as if that man doesn't know that. Come on, bruh. Who the fuck are you fooling? Who the fuck you think you fooling?
Respectfully, Senator, what the hell are you doing? Looking into the camera and telling military men and women to ignore the commander-in-chief. How dare you? How dare you do that? That's right, I'm calling. I never served in the military. That's true. I have family members who did. Some of my best friends have. Marines, Air Force, Navy, Army.
And you ain't think to call none of them motherfuckers when you got your bitch ass on the mic to say, what do you think you're doing? You didn't call none of them? Because they'd have told your stupid ass, hey, bruh, he said illegal orders, unconstitutional orders. That's what the video was about. But you call yourself admonishing them for defying whether or not Trump has given an illegal order. So when it comes to Stephen A. Smith, I'm of the mind that he knows that he's omitted information, one, and that he's forwarding more inflammatory and right-wing propaganda, two. And it's high time for people to stop acting as though Stephen A. Smith hasn't become a mouthpiece for right-wing propaganda. It's time we stop that whole notion. Because it is clear that this is the type of bullshit that he's on. It is clear.
I haven't heard one of them, not one of them, say that was okay. How dare you do that? Is it treason? No. Is it punishable by death? It shouldn't be. So the answer is no. But you know better, Senator Kelly. You know better. How dare you do that?
Because it was the right fucking thing to do, bitch. Straight up and down. It was the right fucking thing to do.
What are you supposed to do? You're a ranking senator. You could go to the Senate. You could go to the House. You can draw up paperwork. You can try to start articles of impeachment if you think there's something illegal. I mean, damn, it ain't like y'all haven't done it before. You impeached the man twice. Where'd that get you? Got his behind back in the White House.
Okay, so now, he said y'all impeached him twice. And what did that get you? Got his ass right back in the White House. Now, again, this is why I'm no longer talking to the about whether or not Stephen A. Smith is pitching for the other team, right? Pitching for the other team. Because he's acting as though those impeachments came from nothing. Like there was nothing that caused those impeachments to happen. Like we didn't see the crimes and the things that Donald Trump was doing while he was in the office the first time that warranted those two impeachment proceedings, right? So let me pull this down. Because there was another appearance that Stephen A. Smith had, and this happened to be on Jada Kiss and Fat Joe's podcast, right? And so he was on this show, and he was talking about how the Democrats were coming after Donald Trump, and you know what? I'm gonna just let him. I'm gonna just let this nigga talk himself into a goddamn corner. Here we go.
Free rent. Free this. They gave that PPP. Everybody thought PPP was coming.
You can't put it
right
on,
now. They ain't even got SNAP.
You hold it, but you can't put it on Trump because in that and talk about what he said what you said the Dominicans said. Because Trump ain't never told motherfuckers shit gonna be free.
Yeah, but they think that
he never said that.
No,
he
no,
ain't
no.
never said that.
No, but they think that. But
Okay,
they
well,
think
that ain't his problem.
Middle America think because Trump is a big businessman, he's just gonna roll through.
Also, I'll say this. I am not a fan of like people who don't really do politics having folks on and talking politics and then not prepared to push back when the bullshit is being spewed. Okay? So as I'm watching this, I'm seeing Jada Kiss and I'm seeing Fat Joe kind of let a lot of bullshit go past them, maybe because they aren't versed in the issues, maybe because they even agree with what the fuck he's saying. Who the fuck knows? I just know it bothers me when I watch these podcasts with rappers or entertainers and some shit when we talking politics comes up and they're not prepared to push back on the bullshit that's being spewed. I'll just say that.
And give money out to everybody, which is not true, brother.
But what I'm saying to you is that at the end of the day, this is the biggest thing that we have to understand. And it's not politics, it's life in this regard. When Trump won, America said he's closer to normal than the Democratic Party.
That's absolute bullshit. That is absolute bullshit. What ended up happening was this. There were a lot of people who thought after COVID that the cost of things would come down. And what we were going under was a global pandemic that changed the economies of a lot of nations. And a lot of nations were struggling coming out of the pandemic, the once in a 100-year pandemic that we suffered under, right? We weren't recovering fast enough for enough people. And many incumbents around the world found themselves on the losing end of an election because they blamed the people in charge. Well, why didn't you get us out of this fast enough? But also, you had a lot of people with very short fucking memories who forgot details about how we ended up in that position in the first fucking place. They forgot that Donald Trump didn't take the COVID-19 pandemic seriously. They forgot that Donald Trump said that he knew that the motherfucking virus was deadly, but that they didn't want to they didn't want to tell the nation because it would have scared people. They forgot that the lockdowns happened under Donald Trump. Them motherfuckers even forgot that Donald Trump was responsible for the vaccine, right? That Donald Trump in Project Warp Speed was what got us, what helped get us the vaccine so fucking fast. If I had to get that bitch ass orange motherfucker any credit for anything, is that like, yo, we got a fucking vaccine relatively fast about this novel fucking virus that no one has ever seen that's killed millions across the fucking world. People forgot that shit. They forgot. And so when 2024 came about, because we have such short memories, people thought, oh shit, I mean, damn, it wasn't all bad with Trump, was it? I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, yeah, George Floyd, that was some fucked up shit. And yeah, we was locked down, but there was the PPP loan. The nigga gave us some money, right? You know, like that sort of like rationalization started happening for people. Excuse me. That sort of rationalization started happening for folk. And so when you have watched and like kind of watched this shit happen, I'm listening to this nigga like, you gotta be out of your fucking mind. You gotta be out of your fucking mind. Because you're acting as though we didn't watch this nigga commit crimes in front of us. As if this nigga didn't say I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and I wouldn't lose a voter. If that motherfucker said anything, that was the truest shit he ever said. Because there are people who know if he does any motherfucking thing criminally illegal or morally reprehensible, that wouldn't stop them from being a supporter of Donald Trump. So to listen to this bitch made motherfucker here get on this podcast and say that those impeachments were some bullshit. Nah, what you spitting right now is again misinformation. And it's because of who is hosting this podcast. This shit is targeted at black people. This shit is targeted at black people and black voters. Bottom line.
Back to normalcy. Talk about affordability. Talk about safety. Talk about the economy. Talk about when you're talking about the border. When you talk about the border, Obama deported.
Jada Kiss talk about education. Meanwhile, the Trump administration is out here eradicating the motherfucking Department of Education. Make this shit make sense, bro. Come on, man.
More people than Trump. Never said a word. He just did it. In this regard, when Trump won, America said he's closer to normal than the Democratic Party. Get back to normalcy. Talk about affordability. Talk about safety. Talk about the economy. Talk about when you're talking about the border. When you're talking about the border, Obama deported more people than Trump. Never said a word. He just did it. Yeah. You understand? I got on Joe Biden when I told him he messed up with Ketanji Brown Jackson, the black Supreme Court justice. Not because he picked her. What the hell did you say beforehand? I'm going to pick a black woman for. Just do it. Because when you announced it, then you sat up there and all the white folks there were like, what if we said it's a white person that's going to be picked? Yeah.
That's how they always did it, nigga. What are we talking about? That's how they always did it. It was always somebody white. It was always a white man. It was always a white woman. There has never been a black woman U.S. Supreme Court justice. You think that white folks needed Joe Biden to elect or select Ketanji Brown Jackson to decide that, hey, the next motherfucking Supreme Court justice is going to be yet another motherfucking white person? There have only been 3 black Supreme Court justices. Thurgood Marshall, Clarence Thomas, and Ketanji Brown Jackson. All of them have been white, and all of them have been mostly males. Only, 5 or 6 of them maybe have been women. What are you talking about, nigga? God damn. Did your hairline fuck up your thinking too?
We'd have lost it. But you happy as a Democrat now that you got some leverage, that you could do it. And then you wonder where the fallout's going to be. I told him with Trump, let it go. What you trying to put him in jail for? They did everything they could to prevent him from being the president. Trump ain't going after these people, man, because of the election. He going after these people because they tried to get him to spend the rest of his life in fucking prison. He approaching 80 years old and you tried to throw him behind bars.
As he should be, nigga. The nigga was out here, bruh. Donald Trump was out here committing crimes in front of everybody, bruh. Committing crimes in front of everybody. He lost that 2020 election fair and square and called it a fucking called it a hoax, right? Started sending people into different swing states and creating his own slate of electors, right? Started doing that shit. Went to Georgia and told the Georgia Secretary of State, hey man, why don't y'all just kind of manufacture me 11,780 votes so that I can win y'all state. We heard that shit on fucking tape, nigga. What are you talking about? And then when that shit didn't work, had a whole bunch of them stupid, dumb motherfuckers roll up on the Capitol on January 6th and try to force the United States Congress to delay the count of the certification of the election because he fucking lost. Those are fucking crimes, nigga. So when you out here talking about they tried to put him in jail, nigga, it wasn't like they ain't had no fucking reason. What are you talking about? They had reason to lock this orange piece of shit up. But meanwhile, we gotta look at your stupid ass like this on podcasts aimed at black people to act as though putting Donald Trump in jail was something that was unreasonable. Think about that for a minute. We got to look at you like this while you arguing for Donald Trump to get off on trying to throw out the votes of millions of Americans. Let's not even talk about the cases that he went to court over. 61 cases, in fact, where they threw his shit out, where his lawyers were trying to eradicate the voters of over shit. I mean, it was in the millions at one point. He was trying to disenfranchise millions of voters because he didn't like the outcome of that election. And you act as though we're supposed to be fucking surprised at there being some criminal element about how he acted during that time. As if that was just something that is regular fucking course of being. No, that's not how we get down here. Allegedly. So when it comes to this nigga, the reason why I'm no longer talking about this bitch nigga on this podcast is because I want y'all to understand this motherfucker here, as much as he tries to act as if he is an enlightened centrist, we know that repeating and legitimizing Republican talking points pays. It pays extraordinarily well. This is why you have people like a Stephen A. Smith. This is why you have people like a C.J. Pearson. This is why you have people like a Candace Owens. This is why you have people like Officer Tatum. This is why you have that fuck-ass Fresh and Fit podcast. This is why you have people like DJ Academics. They get paid. This is why you got Nicki Minaj talking about some shit going on in Nigeria that she doesn't have a fucking clue about to the United Nations when she's from fucking Trinidad. And she never talks about Trinidad. I need people to understand that these people are being paid to mislead you. It pays very fucking well. It pays very well. And this is why you continuously see these faces on your televisions and on your phones and on your tablets. The misinformation game has not stopped from 2015. It has continued and it has evolved. And it has also ensnared some of your more prominent popular culture figures, including someone like this follically challenged motherfucker here, Stephen A. Smith. I'm going to play a little bit more of this and then we're going to get up out of here.
He coming. He coming. Like, wait a minute. You motherfuckers smile in my face. You coming to my casinos. You coming to the hotel. Y'all all know we all sportsmen. We saw Trump at all the sporting events. We were all cool with him. We weren't calling them racist then. So it's like he looking at it and he going like, yo, these motherfuckers trying to put me in prison. They ain't trying to get me. Like, okay, January 6th, insurrection, all of that. Fine. All right, I leave. Y'all, y'all could.
Imagine minimizing January 6th. Much like C.J. Pearson, minimize those racist text messages from the young Republicans. Imagine that.
Firm, Biden gonna be your president. I'm out. And you still coming for me. You trying to throw me in prison. The charges in New York. And what was the charge in New York? Oh, let's remind ourselves of this. 34 felony counts and all of this shit. It came down to $130,000 that he spent in hush money to a prostitute, a porn star, the porn star.
That's not what it was. That's not what it was. Again, it was about him falsifying documents. It was about him falsifying records for real estate deals. That's not what it was. Again, misinformation. So, yeah, man. I'm gonna just leave it at that. I'm not talking about this bitch anymore. We know at a certain point, and as I watch this, I'm watching Jada Kids like, oh man, it was only over 150,000. Like, yeah, I don't watch this podcast anyway, so there's that. But and I'm sure they don't even know who the fuck I am, so there's that too. But yeah, man, I need us to be more judicious about where we get our information from, where we try to be educated, where we try to get more informed. But when it comes to someone like a Stephen A. Smith, someone like a C.J. Pearson, I already know that I'm not dealing with someone who's operating in good faith. And I also already know that the right-wing political ecosphere pays very well, and it allows for these dudes to get out here and say this most incendiary shit, and oftentimes the wrong shit. And oftentimes to the people like us, to our detriment. And so, yeah, I'm just gonna kind of close with that. But yeah, man, again, those times where I talked a little bit longer than I thought I would. But yo, it's time for me to get on up out of here. But of course, before we get out of here, I gotta remind you guys how to get in touch with us over here at the Mr. Spann Official Podcast and let your voice be heard. You can go ahead and hit up the hotline, area code 313-288-0485. That's area code 313-288-0485. Leave those voicemail messages. Of course, those messages will get played here and reply to here live on the show. You can also hit us up on Threads and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Spann. So go ahead, follow me there. Chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. Also on YouTube, man, go ahead, subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Leave us comments on YouTube. Hit the subscribe to the channel, but also hit the bell icon on there so you can be alerted when we do anything here live and new on the Mr. Spann Official Podcast for that channel. Hit us up on there and leave us those comments. Of course, those comments will be highlighted here on the show as well. Also on Spotify and iTunes, leave us a 5-star review. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get read here live on the show. We really do appreciate everybody who does that. Doesn't cost you a dime, just a couple minutes of your time to let everybody know why you're rocking with us over here at the Mr. Spann Official Podcast and the Spann Report Podcast Network in its entirety. But also, we do have a store, man. I forgot to mention this earlier before we started the show, but we do have a store, man. So if you want to get yourself some Mr. Spann Official Podcast merch and the Spann Report Podcast merch, we got a store. The link will be in the show notes. We really appreciate everybody who does that. That does cost you a couple bucks, but we really want you guys to get something for your money, man. So we got hats, We got, athletic shirts. We got t-shirts. We got hoodies. We even got motherfucking shorts now, man. We got a lot of stuff in that store, man. And we really do appreciate everybody who supports us in that way to kind of help us continue what we're doing over here at the Mr. Spann Official Podcast and the Spirit Report Podcast Network in its entirety, man. But, man, it is about time for me to get out of here. But I will talk to you guys again soon. But until next time, fam, peace.